paid the cashier the entire $2 of my allowance, took the game home, and pored over the numbered paragraph rulebook until I got the game down. For the next several years, this game accompanied me on every sleepover, camp out, and get-together I was part of. I played this game to death. Today, the box is crushed, the cards are falling apart, the tokens are worn and frayed, all the original pawns have had to be replaced, and yet it's the most treasured game in my collection. Maybe a year after this pivotal purchase from the Hastings discount bin, I was at a yard sale and saw a stack of Star Trek games for 50 cents each. These wound up being part of the West End Game Star Trek collection. Star Trek, the Adventure Game, a paragraph-style story game. Star Trek, the Enterprise to the Fourth Power Encounter, a set collection game. And Star Trek 3, a collection of 3 solitaire games. I bought all 3 of these and started incorporating them into family game nights, except for the solitaire games, which I invested many engaging hours into alone. The best one of the solo games was called the Sherwood Syndrome, which also featured a paragraph-based storytelling system and tasked the player with maneuvering the Enterprise crew on a primitive planet modeled after Robin Hood. It felt just like one of those delightful episodes of classic Trek where the Enterprise stumbles upon yet another ridiculous parallel planet development world. Of course, I still own all 3 of these games as well. Fast forward several years. I'm a freshman at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. I meet a very influential junior by the name of John Franta. Not only does this guy talk me into joining and sponsor me in Kappa Kappa Psi, the marching band co-ed fraternity where I would meet my wife, but he also introduces me to modern board games. I'll never forget it. John was a student worker for one of the conductors. One slow weekday afternoon, he took me up to the top floor of the Performing Arts building, led me to an empty office, and laid a board game out, the likes of which I had never seen before. The board was constructed of modular hex tiles, and players rolled dice to see which resources their settlements generated, and then used those resources to build more buildings and a network of roads. The game was Settlers of Catan, and I was astounded. From then on, I started buying the occasional board game along with the packs of cards and miniatures I was buying at the time. Just 2 or 3 board games that caught my eye a year. I started to build a small collection with my own copy of Settlers, Guillotine, Alhambra, Hey, that's my fish! And Amira. A little supplement to my customizable card and miniature infatuation. But enough of a lifeline to the board game hobby to keep me connected through those years and to keep the hobby foremost in my mind when it came time to abandon collectible games and embrace modern board games instead. Next week, we'll see how exactly that fared. But for now, I'll conclude episode 4 there. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to join the Out of the Dust Podcast Guild at BoardGameGeek.com. Follow the podcast on Twitter at OutOfTheDustBGG. Leave a comment at the Guild. PM me on BGG under user handle Radagast14, or email me at radagast14@CenturyLink.net. And join the Out of the Dust conversation yourself at our monthly geek list at BGG. All right, play me out, Ananda.